Very good morning to all of you. Thanks for tuning in to Mirror Now. I am Afrida Rahman Ali. We begin by getting you updates from West Bengal. That big verdict is awaited, where Calcutta High Court is all set to pronounce its verdict on a bunch of petitions alleging post-poll violence after Mamata Banerjee came back to power in the recent state elections. State High Court is set to deliver its verdict on the petitions alleging violence in the state of West Bengal following TMC coming to power. A 5-member bench of the High Court had reserved its verdict on the matter on the 3rd of August. A number of petitions had moved the High Court earlier this year, alleging widespread post-poll violence in the state of West Bengal after Trinamool's return to power on the 2nd of May. The NHRC had also formed a panel and submitted a report indicting Mamata Banerjee government for the violence. The report said it was retributive violence and there was appalling apathy on the part of the government against the victims. So these are observations by the National Human Rights Commission. The Calcutta High Court is very shortly going to pronounce its verdict on the petitions that have alleged post-poll violence on the Mamata Banerjee government. My colleague Gauri is joining me now to take us through the NHRC report. Gauri, good morning. Just want to understand from you that the NHRC submission in this regard is going to be extremely critical. It's supposed to be an independent panel making its observations on what really happened after the election results were announced in terms of the widespread violence that is being alleged by the petitioners.
Yes, of course, that is true, Afrida, but we have to also remember that even NHRC's probe and their visit to all the affected areas was also mired with all kind of controversy. But if we will take our viewers through some of the highlights of that NHRC report that you are talking about right now, and they have submitted to the High Court that they are going to consider today while pronouncing the verdict. In fact, on the incident of violence in West Bengal, they had categorically said that situation is law of ruler, not rule of law. So that is very important observation there by NHRC, and also they also went on to say that fear among victims against ruling party, that is of course the Mamata government, and after that several offences of sexual harassment also took place. This is what the NHRC panel had to say when they submitted their report to the High Court. They also said that victims scared to speak out. So that is also one very important aspect of this report, that they are basically indicting the state government and their role in this entire matter. If we move on and see what else NHRC had to say on state government's behavior on this particular matter, they said that appalling apathy of government towards plight of victims, basically again targeting Mamata government and their role and how they handle the entire matter. They went on to say that there is loss of faith in state administration among victims, because remember NHRC was tasked with this particular responsibility, that they have to go on ground and speak to the victims and take feedback and take their side of the story. So they have cited those versions in this report, and they have said that there is a lack of trust between the victims and the state government. Violence invoked no empathy in administration, again something which can go against Mamata government if NHRC report is considered by the Calcutta High Court. In fact, if we move on and see some other aspect of this particular report on politico-bureaucracy nexus, NHRC report actually said that politico-bureaucratic criminal nexus was quite evident in this entire matter, in this post-poll violence that rocked the state of West Bengal. In fact, no political leaders condemned the violence. That is also one thing that was highlighted by NHRC in its report. Senior politicians did not visit the spot, something which was also questioned by opposition during this entire controversy. If we move on and see what else NHRC had to say on duty of state police, the Mamata government's police, and they had said that police grossly derelict if not complicit in violence. So basically questioning the West Bengal police's role also in this entire violence that rocked the state. Also fear among victims against police in Bengal. So they are basically in their report, NHRC categorically said that people who are the victims of this post-poll violence were actually in fear when it comes to state as well as the police. If we move on and see what NHRC had to say, there were many important things which they highlighted in these reports. But of course, this particular report is going to be a very crucial factor of Frida when it comes to Calcutta High Court judgment. Over to you.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Gauri. And we'll have to now see whether the Calcutta High Court finds merit in these observations. Earlier, the court has said that, yes, the state denied any violence from the beginning. That was an observation made on the 18th of June. And post that also, the court had observed that the state is in a denial mode. But today is the big verdict that will come in on the petitions alleging post-poll violence. Thanks for giving us the details.